So now that we have the basics of the platform and what apps are available to us, where do we actually get started? How do we make sure our foundation is set for success from day one? Well, there are 4 categories we'll discuss in a bit more detail in the following sections. We'll be discussing business units, users and roles, sending reputation, and data. So let's first dive into business units. Now, the first thing I want to call out about business units is that this is only going to be relevant for you if you have multiple business units or lines of business within your instance that you'll be working on. But it's still important for you to understand the basics. Business units are a way to control how information is shared across Marketing Cloud. This provides you the ability to manage data control and brand separation inside of your single instance of Marketing Cloud. I'll make a quick note here before we move on. It's really important that before creating new business units, you map out the intended structure based on your organization. So here's an example of an enterprise business using business units to scale their instance. At the very top, we have the parent business unit. This parent business unit is typically used as a place to store enterprise-wide information and templates, but it's a best practice not to send from this communication. That'll have to be a topic for another day. But the short explanation is that it has to do with your subscription's opt-in status and ensuring that it's accurate across each business unit. Now on the left, we have brand 1. This brand is a global brand of a company, and therefore they've decided to separate out their brand communication into country business units. This enables the brands to have multiple marketing teams working in their own business units and also keep a layer of separation between their data for security and compliance reasons. Next, we have brand 2. Brand 2 is a bit simpler. They are a US only brand, and therefore they have kept it simple by just having one business unit. You can see that the combination of business units are endless, and when it comes down to selecting the right number of business units, make sure that you keep it as simple as possible. Keep in mind that these are the 3 factors when selecting your structure: data, content and marketing teams, and compliance and security. Next up, we have roles. Roles are just what they sound like. They are a collection of permissions you have access to within Marketing Cloud, which make up the type of role you will perform. Currently, there are 10 standard roles that are a good start to separate out the levels of access of people requirements. Some examples of these standard roles include system admin, data manager, analyst, content creator. My suggestion is always to begin with the standard roles and determine if there are any gaps you need to separate out your user's permission above the standard roles. It might be obvious here, but it is not a best practice to assign everyone the system admin. Assuming everyone has the best intention in mind, people still make mistakes, and it's much easier to ensure that nothing is deleted by accident if only the right people have access to delete or modify those assets. Next, we have sending reputation. Sending reputation is one of those elements that can easily be overlooked as you think about building a solid Marketing Cloud foundation, but it is one of the most essential elements you need to understand. Sending reputation is how the world's ISPs see your email communication. Is it legit? Is it spam? Should I put it in the main inbox or file it away into promotions? When you start with a new brand in a new instance, you have a very neutral reputation. You have a fresh new IP, which is your company's address on the open web. As you begin to send email communication, the type of content, how your customers react to that message will begin to build a positive or negative reputation. Prior to sending any communications though, you need to set up your sender authentication package, which is a package that pulls together your IP address and your domains. This sender authentication package, as I mentioned before, is made up of 2 big elements: IPs and domains. Each instance has an IP address. It's most common to have a dedicated IP address, but in some cases you may have a shared one with a few other accounts depending on your limited volume. On the other side, you have domains, which will be used to link what will be shown in your emails and the landing pages and images to your brand and your SAP package. Lastly, but definitely not least, we have data. This is critical in setting up a solid foundation. There's so much on this topic, but to give you an overview, we really have 3 categories to think about. We have sources. This is where the data is stored in Marketing Cloud. In most cases, you'll be utilizing data extensions. which are a flexible way to store small and large data that can either be your customers directly or information about them. There's inputs. Inputs are how the data gets into Marketing Cloud. This typically includes out-of-the-box integrations with Sales Cloud, but can also include APIs and FTP integrations to bring new data into Marketing Cloud. And lastly, we have automation. Once you have your data in Marketing Cloud, you typically need to transform or segment it in some way to get to the right audience. That's where queries and filters come into the picture. So that was a lot of content. So let's do a quick overview. We went through the basics of marketing automation, what it is, why we're using it. We went through the difference of the studios and builders we have available inside of Marketing Cloud. And we went through some quick best practices of marketing automation inside of Marketing Cloud. Next up, we have security, compliance, and governance.